Success is never handed over to the idle. It is not found in wishful thinking or casual desire. It is earned. It is earned through definite purpose, unwavering discipline, and ceaseless effort. And it is a truth as fixed as the sunrise that lazy people never succeed, and that those who succeed are never lazy. Laziness is a thief. It robs men and women of their time, their potential, and their rightful destiny. It begins in small doses, a moment postponed, a task avoided, a goal deferred, but it grows, it becomes a habit, and habits form the foundation of character. A lazy man may dream of riches, he may imagine himself great, but dreams unaccompanied by effort are mirages in the desert, beautiful, but entirely unreal. What the world calls success does not favor the one who sleeps while others work. It does not favor the one who seeks comfort instead of growth, who spends hours in leisure but seconds in purpose. For every man or woman who has ever risen above mediocrity, the path was paved with labor, persistence, and sacrifice. Successful people are never lazy because they understand that the laws of nature reward activity, not apathy. The seed that remains unplanted bears no fruit. The hammer that is never swung builds no shelter. The book unopened teaches nothing. In every realm of life, whether it be business, health, relationships, or spiritual growth, action is the key. The most successful individuals you will ever encounter do not wake up with no plan, nor do they drift through their days. They rise with purpose, they act with clarity, they carry the fire of ambition in their hearts, and they feed that fire every day with discipline and deliberate effort. They do not wait for motivation to arrive, they create it. They do not complain about the wind, they adjust their sails. They do not cry over what they do not have, they build with what they do. Every step they take, every action they perform, compounds over time until it manifests as success so apparent that others call it luck. But it is not luck, it is not fortune, it is cause and effect. You cannot lie in bed until noon and expect to lead nations. You cannot ignore your calling and hope to feel fulfilled. You cannot spend your life distracted and expect to discover your greatness. Success demands that you show up every single day, even when you do not feel like it. The habit of laziness is not simply a weakness, it is a silent assassin of dreams. It whispers, "You can do it later." It tempts, "You deserve a break." But what it really does is delay your destiny and sabotage your power. Each moment wasted in indifference could have been invested in growth. Those who succeed have developed a powerful weapon against laziness, discipline. They know that feelings come and go, but discipline carries them through the storms of doubt, fatigue, and fear. Discipline says, "I will act, not when I feel ready, but because I made a decision." When others are resting, the successful are refining. When others are doubting, the successful are doing. When others are quitting, the successful are pushing forward. Their reward is not just wealth, influence, or acclaim. Their true reward is the man or woman they become in the process, strong, capable, respected, and free. You must understand, success does not respond to laziness. It never will. And those who practice laziness with their thoughts, their habits, their time, they remove themselves from the game entirely. If you wish to be great, you must become allergic to laziness. You must reject every excuse, every rationalization, every delay. You must replace leisure with learning, replace distractions with direction, replace sloth with swift, relentless, purposeful action. If you are tempted to wait for the right time, remember this: there is no perfect moment, only this moment and what you do with it. And so I say to you, stand up. Start now, move forward, take action, discipline yourself, conquer the voice that tells you to rest before you've earned it. Drive yourself past the comfort of ordinary living and into the realm of excellence. Do the work that others refuse to do, and you will achieve the success others only dream of. For the world has no shortage of lazy people, but it desperately hungers for individuals of action. Let that individual be you. Laziness is not merely a weakness. It is a poison that infects the mind, the spirit, and ultimately, the results of every man or woman who indulges it. It begins innocently, perhaps with a decision to rest a little longer, to postpone action until tomorrow, to wait until the perfect moment arrives. But what begins as a single compromise soon forms a habit, and that habit digs its roots deep into the character of the individual, paralyzing initiative and suffocating the fire of ambition. When a man allows laziness to rule his conduct, he becomes a slave to his lesser self. He forfeits his right to achievement, for achievement demands effort. He loses sight of his purpose, for purpose demands clarity and movement. And most tragic of all, he begins to make peace with mediocrity, convincing himself that average is acceptable, that failure is fate, and that greatness belongs only to the fortunate. But let the truth be known, greatness does not belong to the fortunate. It belongs to the diligent. Success is not awarded to those who sleep away their opportunity. It does not land on the lap of those who do not rise to meet it. Every empire ever built, every fortune ever created, every legend ever written in the pages of history was born of labor, of effort, of toil, and not once did it come from the hands of the lazy. A man who desires success but refuses to move toward it is like a farmer who refuses to plant yet expects a harvest. He looks out upon the field and waits for nature to bless him, never realizing that nature blesses only those who cooperate with its laws. Effort is the seed, persistence is the rain, discipline is the sunlight. Without them, the soil of life yields nothing. What many fail to understand is that laziness does not simply show up as doing nothing. It often disguises itself in clever ways. It wears the mask of indecision, the veil of endless planning, the voice that whispers, "Not yet," or "It's too hard." It convinces you to check your phone instead of your goals, to scroll instead of study, to rest before the real work has even begun. This is the great deception of laziness. It feels harmless in the moment, but it's not. It is a thief in the night, stealing your time, your talent, your energy, and eventually your destiny, and each time you surrender to it, it grows stronger while your self-respect grows weaker. You must resist it. You must cast it out with the force of will. You must replace it with action, with movement, with progress. No matter how small, for action is the cure. Even the smallest step forward is an act of defiance against laziness. And once you begin to move, you gain power over it. You realize that discipline is not a burden but a blessing. It is the gateway through which all success must pass. If you find yourself waiting for the right time to begin, understand this: laziness will always provide you with a reason to wait. But life does not reward the waiter. It rewards the worker, the man who builds while others rest, the woman who plans while others party, the individual who refuses to waste another precious day in the prison of procrastination. There is no room in the house of success for laziness. Its walls are built by those who are willing to sweat. Its doors open only to those who knock again and again. Its lights shine only for those who continue to move forward, even when their legs are tired and their path is unclear. And so I say to you, if you desire success, you must declare war on laziness. You must become aware of its voice and challenge it every time it speaks. You must look it in the eye and say, "Not today. I have work to do. I have a destiny to fulfill. I have a life to build." Laziness is not your friend. It does not care about your goals. It does not wish for your prosperity. It is the enemy of progress, the saboteur of success, the assassin of greatness. It wants only to keep you small, safe, and silent. Do not let it win. Stand up, move, begin. Let the fire of purpose burn brighter than the temptation of comfort, for the road to success is steep, but it is walkable if you refuse to sit down. Desire is a powerful force. It is the spark that lights the inner fire, but desire alone, without action, is as useless as a map without a traveler. The world is filled with men and women who want to be successful, who wish for riches, who dream of better lives. But wishes are not plans, dreams are not blueprints, and desire, without disciplined and consistent effort, is nothing but a whisper lost in the winds of time. Success is earned through motion, not emotion. Through discipline, not daydreaming. Those who rise to greatness do not wait for the mood to strike them. They are not dependent on inspiration or ideal circumstances. They move forward when it's easy, and they move forward when it's hard. They work through the rain, they show up in the storm, and they do the work while others are sleeping or stalling or doubting. Action is the bridge between vision and result. It is the only language that success understands. You can read all the books in the world, attend every seminar, recite affirmations morning and night, but unless those thoughts ignite into action, you will remain exactly where you are. The man who takes one small, consistent step each day will go farther than the one who plans grand moves but never leaves his chair. Why? Because consistent action compounds. Effort, repeated over time, builds momentum. And momentum builds achievement. It is not the giant leap towards the one who keeps showing up, day in and day out. It crowns the man who stays faithful to the process, even when the results are slow. It honors the woman who works quietly in the shadows while others clamor for attention and shortcuts. There is a natural law at play here. You reap what you sow, not occasionally, not randomly, always. If you plant effort, you harvest results. If you plant excuses, you harvest regret. Every action you take is a seed, and every day is a field. If you refuse to plant because you're tired or bored or discouraged, do not be surprised when your future yields nothing. Discipline is what separates the successful from the wishful. Discipline says, I don't care how I feel. I made a commitment and I will keep it. Discipline shows up at dawn, stays through discomfort, and finishes the work no matter the weather. It is not glamorous. It is not exciting, but it is powerful. There is no magic behind consistent action. It's a choice. A daily, moment-by-moment choice to move forward, to do the work, to honor your vision by aligning your behavior with your purpose. You must understand, greatness is forged in repetition. The master became a master by doing the fundamentals again and again until they became second nature. The champion wins not because he trains harder once, but because he trains longer, steadier, and more focused than anyone else. The successful man or woman isn't more talented or gifted than others. They are simply more consistent. Stop measuring effort by the moment, measure it by the standard you commit to. The key is not to act when you feel like it, but to feel like it because you acted. The feeling follows the motion. The motivation comes after the movement. So I urge you, decide today that you will no longer live at the mercy of your moods. Refuse to let your feelings control your future. Create a plan, commit to it, and execute it daily. When it's difficult, do it anyway. When it's uncomfortable, do it anyway. When you're unsure, do it anyway. The road to success does not bend to the lazy or the occasional. It yields only to those who move forward with consistency and resolve. Let your steps, small though they may be unbreakable. Let your progress be steady and your mission be sacred. Do not wait for the perfect time. Act now, act again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next. That is the only path to greatness. Discipline is the silent architect behind every great life. It is not loud. It does not boast. It does not parade itself on the surface for the world to applaud. But behind every fortune, behind every empire, behind every remarkable transformation, there lies a life of structured discipline. The man who builds himself into something extraordinary does not rely on flashes of inspiration. He relies on the firm foundation of disciplined action. You must understand that feelings are fleeting. They change with the weather, with fatigue, with distractions, with fear. But discipline stands tall through all of it. Discipline is the inner voice that says, I will do what I said I would do, no matter how I feel. It is the rope that holds you steady when doubt shakes the ground beneath you. It is the engine that moves your dreams from your imagination into reality. Too many people live according to how they feel in the moment. If they feel tired, they stop. If they feel unmotivated, they delay. If they feel fear, they retreat. But here is the secret. Successful people feel those same things. They are not immune to tiredness, or fear, or boredom. But they act anyway because they have made a decision, a binding, non-negotiable decision, to live with discipline. Discipline is not a matter of punishment or hardship. It is not about depriving yourself of joy. On the contrary, discipline is the gateway to lasting joy, the kind that only comes from earned success, from self-respect, from the quiet knowing that you are in control of your own destiny. Every time you choose discipline over indulgence, you deposit strength into your character. And character, over time, becomes the magnet that draws opportunity, influence, and prosperity to you. There is something profoundly liberating about living with discipline. You are no longer a slave to your impulses. You are no longer at the mercy of laziness or doubt. You become the master of your fate, not by force, but by choice, and every choice, repeated enough times, becomes a habit, and every habit becomes a result. You must train yourself to act not based on your mood, but based on your mission. The mission is greater than your comfort. The mission is more important than a moment of ease. When others take the easy route, the disciplined man takes the stairs. When others delay, he begins. When others quit, he endures. That is the difference, and it makes all the difference. If you truly desire success, not just wish for it, but are willing to earn it, you must adopt the mindset of discipline in everything you do. Wake up with purpose, move with intention, guard your time, reject distractions, build routines that support your vision, and most importantly, keep your word to yourself, because that is where real power is born, not in what you promise to others, but in what you promise to yourself and keep. Every time you break your word to yourself, your self-image weakens, but every time you honor it, your confidence grows, and confidence, backed by discipline, becomes unstoppable. Consider the one who trains his mind and body to obey the command of will. He rises before the sun, not because it feels good, but because it is part of the plan. He works on his craft daily, not because every session is exciting, but because consistency is the soil from which excellence grows. He says no to distractions, not because he is rigid, but because he is clear about what he wants, and nothing will stand in his way. You are not here to live by default. You are not here to drift through your days like a leaf in the wind. You are here to shape your life with purpose, to forge yourself into something meaningful, and that can only be done through discipline. You will be tempted to skip days, to cut corners, to justify inaction. But remember this, every excuse is a brick in the wall between you and the life you want, and every act of discipline is a hammer that tears that wall down. So live not by emotion, but by principle. Show up every day. Do the work, keep your promises, honor your word, and in time the results will speak for themselves. You will not need to announce your greatness. The world will see it, and they will wonder how you did it. But you will know you showed up when you didn't feel like it. You did the work when no one was watching. You chose discipline over comfort, and that is what built your success. Time is life's most precious currency. Once spent, it can never be reclaimed, never restored, never re-earned. And yet, it is the one resource that most squander without thought, without care, without understanding its immense value. A man may recover lost money, rebuild lost reputation, even not pity the procrastinator. It moves forward with merciless consistency, and the man who fails to move with it is left behind, stagnant, bitter, and bewildered as the world passes him by. Every minute has a purpose. Every day holds within it the power to reshape your life, And when you begin to view your time as your most valuable possession, you will begin to guard it with the same fervor that you guard your wealth, perhaps even more so. The successful man or woman does not ask, "How can I kill time?" They ask, "How can I use time to build, to grow, to lead, to learn?" While others look for ways to escape work, the achiever looks for ways to multiply his effort. He knows that one focused hour can yield more than a week of scattered intention. It is not about being busy. The world is full of busy people going nowhere. It is about being deliberate, about knowing exactly what you must do and using your time to do it, without hesitation, without excuse. When your actions are aligned with your purpose, time becomes your ally. When your days are wasted in distraction and indecision, time becomes your enemy. Time invested in self-development is never wasted. Time spent mastering your craft, strengthening your discipline, building your vision, that is time that will pay you back in abundance. But time spent mindlessly, in the grip of comfort or distraction, is like pouring water into a broken jar. It slips away, and all you're left with is the memory of what could have been. You must become ruthless with your time. Say no to the unnecessary. Walk away from the unproductive. Cut ties with habits that steal your energy and derail your focus. You were not born to wander aimlessly. You were born to build something of value, and that cannot be done unless you first respect the hours you are given. Each day is a blank canvas. You can paint it with excellence or deface it with negligence. You can fill it with bold strokes of ambition, or you can smear it with the dull gray of apathy. The choice is yours, but the consequences are permanent. Greatness is not a matter of talent alone. It is a matter of how you use your time. The greatest among us are not always the most gifted, but they are certainly the most intentional. They live with urgency, they act with speed, they execute with precision, they do not wait for life to give them permission. They claim their hours and use them as tools to shape their destiny. Do not be among those who live as though they have forever. You do not. The clock is always ticking, and with every tick you are either growing or declining, building or decaying, rising or sinking. So take this day, this hour, this very moment, and make it count. Pour your whole self into it. Work as though your future depends on it, because it does. Time is your only if you treat it like gold. Waste it and it becomes your master. Use it and you become unstoppable. Motion is the cure for stagnation. It is the answer to hesitation, the antidote to fear, and the secret weapon against doubt. The most successful men and women in the world do not sit around waiting for the perfect plan, the perfect feeling, or the perfect opportunity. They move, they act, they take the first step even when they cannot yet see the full staircase. They understand that success is not given, it is built, and motion is the tool by which they build it. To create momentum, you must first accept that perfection is an illusion. Waiting for everything to be just right is the favorite excuse of the procrastinator. It is the trap that has stolen more dreams than failure ever could. The truth is, the stars will never align perfectly, and if you wait until they do, you will still be sitting in the same place 10 years from now, full of regret, wondering what could have been. The individual who understands the power of motion knows that even the smallest action, when done repeatedly, begins to compound. A single-page read today may not seem like much. One workout, 1 hour of study, one sales call. None of these appear mighty on their own. But add them up, day after day, and they become unstoppable. One seed planted may look insignificant, but 1,000 seeds nurtured with daily motion will grow into a forest of abundance. Motion breeds clarity. Many people are paralyzed by indecision. They don't know where to begin, so they do nothing at all. But here's the truth. You don't need to have all the answers to start. You just need to start. Action brings information. Action brings feedback. Action teaches lessons that no book or seminar ever could. You cannot think your way into success. You must act your way there, and something magical happens when you begin to move. You begin to feel alive, your energy rises, your confidence grows, your fears shrink. Momentum begins to gather around you like a force of nature, and things start to happen. People notice your effort. Opportunities present themselves. You find yourself in the right place at the right time, not because of luck, but because you moved into the arena where luck could find you. Motion also builds resilience. When you act daily, you build the habit of endurance. You teach yourself that showing up matters more than how you feel. You discover that consistency is more powerful than bursts of brilliance. While others burn bright for a moment and fade, you keep pressing forward, stacking action on top of action until you create an unshakable foundation. Those who fail often do so not because they lacked talent, but because they lacked movement. They were full of ideas, full of dreams, full of ambition, but they never moved. They mistook planning for progress, thinking and talking for doing. They let fear tie their feet and comfort dull their edge. But success does not respond to hesitation. It does not reward those who wait. It responds to bold, consistent, deliberate action. You must decide to become a person of motion, someone who does not hesitate, does not second, guess, does not delay. Someone who rises early, acts swiftly, and keeps going when the initial excitement fades. Action must become your identity, not something you occasionally do when conditions are favorable, and when obstacles arise, and they will, you must keep moving. Don't pause to complain. Don't wallow in frustration. Keep taking steps, even if they're small, for the very act of moving forward, no matter how slow, brings you closer to the breakthrough. There is no substitute for momentum. Once you generate it, guard it like a treasure, feed it daily, let it carry you through the hard days and over the hills of resistance. Let it become the rhythm of your life, the invisible force that keeps you moving even when your strength is low. The greatest victories are not won by the fastest or the strongest, but by those who kept moving when others stopped. Progress belongs to the persistent, to the doers, to the relentless movers who never surrender their momentum. So rise up and move, act boldly, build your momentum like a snowball rolling downhill, small at first, but soon too powerful to stop. And as you move, life will move with you. Success will not chase the stagnant, but it will bow to the one who never stops moving forward. Excuses are the language of failure. They are the polished lies we tell ourselves to justify delay, to soothe our guilt, to explain away our lack of progress. But no man ever rose to greatness on a bed of excuses. No fortune was built upon the foundation of blame. Excuses destroy potential. They choke the seed of achievement before it has the chance to grow. The difference between the person who succeeds and the one who falls behind is not always ability, intelligence, or opportunity. Often, the difference lies in what they tolerate from themselves. The one who succeeds refuses to give himself an out. He sees excuses for what they are traps, and he avoids them like poison. Look around, and you'll see a world overflowing with reasons to stay the same. I don't have enough time. I'm too tired. I wasn't born into the right family. I'll start tomorrow. These are the whispers of defeat. They sound reasonable, they sound harmless, but they are the tools of the lazy, the fearful, and the undisciplined. You must choose to stop entertaining excuses. They are clever, seductive, and always available. But they cost more than they promise. For every excuse you allow, you trade a piece of your destiny. You trade progress for comfort, growth for familiarity, and excellence for mediocrity. The man who refuses to make excuses is a rare breed. He takes full ownership of his choices. If he fails, he owns it. If he succeeds, he knows it was earned. He does not shift blame to others, nor does he allow circumstances to dictate his effort. He knows that he may not control the weather, the economy, or the opinions of others, but he does control how he shows up each day. There is a quiet power in taking full responsibility. It sharpens your focus. It strengthens your resolve. It transforms problems into projects. While others complain, you build. While others explain their inaction, you take another step. This mindset is not natural to most, It must be cultivated. It requires brutal honesty and the willingness to face your weaknesses head on. You must begin to question every excuse that arises in your mind. When you hear yourself say, "I can't," stop and ask, is that really true, or am I just unwilling to push through discomfort? When you hear, "I don't have time," ask, what am I prioritizing instead, and is it truly more important than my goals? When you say, "I'm not ready," ask, how much longer will I wait while my dreams grow cold? Excuses are the enemy of urgency. And urgency is the heartbeat of achievement. There is no tomorrow promised. There is only now. And those who succeed are the ones who act as though every second matters. They do not wait until the stars align. They align themselves and move forward. Success is not for the one who makes the fewest mistakes. It is for the one who makes the fewest excuses. Mistakes are how we learn. Excuses are how we avoid learning. And avoidance is the path to a dull life, one filled with regret and what-ifs. If you want to rise above the average, begin by refusing to justify average behavior. Hold yourself to a higher standard even when no one is watching. Especially when no one is watching, that is when character is formed. The man of excuses may be clever, he may be charming, he may even be liked, but he will never be great. Greatness is forged in discipline, honesty, and responsibility. It is born in the soul of the one who says, "No matter what, I will find a way." That kind of man cannot be stopped. He does not crumble under difficulty. He does not shrink when things go wrong. He adapts. He adjusts. He endures. And because he does not excuse himself, the world does not excuse his success. It respects it. So today, make the decision to live without excuses. Strip them from your vocabulary. Replace them with action, with commitment, with bold declarations of personal power. Your future will not be built by clever justifications. It will be built by courage, persistence, and the refusal to let any excuse rob you of the life you are capable of living. You are stronger than your reasons. You are more capable than your doubts. And once you stop explaining why you can't, you will begin proving why you can.